In the heart of the Wild West, survival came down to 6 shots of steel. 2 hardened gunmen, revolvers blazing, turned dusty streets into battlefields. These weren't toys or ornaments, they were instruments of raw power, feared as much for their reputation as their killing potential. But among the countless guns that roamed the frontier, a handful stood above the rest. Revolvers so deadly, so reliable, they didn't just win shootouts, they built legends.
Appears to do, yes.
What made these weapons so feared? Was it their unmatched firepower, their precision, or the men who wielded them with icy calm? Over the next few minutes, we'll uncover the truth behind the Wild West's deadliest revolvers. Stick around, because by the end, you'll know which revolver truly ruled the frontier. Number 7, the Remington model, 1875. Deep in the shadows of a Dodge City saloon, a figure sat motionless at the corner table, his weathered hand resting beside a distinctive revolver that gleamed dully in the lamplight. The Remington model, 1875, wasn't the prettiest iron in the room, but it was the deadliest. And everyone who knew anything about killing knew it. While flashier gunmen showed off their fancy Colts, the truly dangerous men carried Remingtons. Because when death was your profession, reliability meant everything. This beast of engineering, chambered in .44 caliber and weighing nearly 3 pounds when fully loaded, featured solid frame construction that made it virtually indestructible under the harsh conditions of frontier life. Unlike other revolvers of its era, the Remington featured a top strap that connected the barrel to the frame, creating an incredibly robust platform that could withstand punishment that would destroy lesser weapons. Exceptional accuracy defined this revolver's deadly reputation. The rigid frame eliminated the slight flexing that plagued other designs, allowing experienced gunmen to place shots with surgical precision at distances that would challenge modern marksmen. The gun's balance was near perfect, with its weight distributed in a way that made rapid, accurate follow-up shots almost effortless. For skilled operators, professional killers, and lawmen who carried the Remington understood its psychological impact. The weapon's substantial presence and distinctive silhouette sent a clear message. This was serious iron carried by serious men. The gun's reputation for never failing in critical moments made it the choice of those who couldn't afford mechanical problems when their lives depended on 6 shots. Beyond mechanical reliability, this revolver amplified the skills of dangerous men in ways that bordered on supernatural. In the hands of a competent shooter, this weapon could deliver devastating accuracy at ranges where other guns became unreliable. Stories circulated of gunfighters using Remingtons to end confrontations before they truly began, placing shots with such precision that opponents surrendered rather than face certain death. The weapon's substantial weight and slower handling characteristics meant it wasn't ideal for lightning-fast draw situations. This limitation actually worked in favor of the most calculating killers, men who preferred to end fights through superior marksmanship rather than quick-draw theatrics. The Remington rewarded patience, preparation, and cold-blooded precision over flashy gunplay. Manufacturing quality reached exceptional levels, with each gun hand-fitted and tested before leaving the factory. This attention to detail meant that finding 2 identical Remingtons was nearly impossible. Each weapon developed its own personality and quirks that experienced users learned to exploit for maximum effectiveness. Professional gunmen often had their Model 1875 modified by skilled gunsmiths. Common alterations included trigger jobs for lighter, more consistent pulls, custom grips for improved handling, and modified sights for enhanced accuracy. These personalized weapons became extensions of their owners, deadly instruments perfectly tuned to their specific techniques and preferences. Facing a man armed with a Remington model 1875 carried profound psychological impact that cannot be overstated. The weapon's reputation for absolute reliability meant that bluffs rarely worked against its wielders. Everyone knew that when a Remington was drawn, it would fire, and it would hit its intended target with devastating effectiveness. Deadly as the Remington proved itself to be. It was just the beginning of our journey into truly fearsome iron. The next weapon represents a quantum leap in lethality, a gun so advanced for its time that it gave its users an almost supernatural advantage in deadly encounters. Number 6. The Smith & Wesson Model 3. The metallic snap echoed through the dusty canyon like breaking bones. But it wasn't bones breaking. It was the revolutionary top break action of the Smith & Wesson Model 3, opening faster than lightning. When this technological marvel arrived on the frontier, it didn't just change how men fought. It changed who lived and who died. This wasn't evolution in firearms design. This was revolution, and the men who understood its potential first gained advantages that transformed them from mere gunfighters into legends of lethality.
Just a bit sooner than y'all was expecting.
Revolutionary features defined every aspect of this deadly instrument. The Model 3 introduced a game-changing top break action that sent shockwaves through the gunfighting community. While other revolvers required laborious loading procedures that left shooters vulnerable, the Model 3 could be completely reloaded in mere seconds. A simple press of the latch caused the barrel to tip forward, automatically ejecting spent cartridges while exposing all 6 chambers simultaneously. Professional killers quickly recognized the tactical advantages this rapid reloading capability provided. In extended gunfights where ammunition depletion could prove fatal, the Model 3 allowed its users to stay in the fight longer and with greater confidence. Stories emerged of gunfighters deliberately firing all 6 shots early in confrontations, knowing they could reload and re-engage before opponents using traditional revolvers could complete their own reloading process. Exceptional accuracy characterized this weapon. Thanks to its precise manufacturing tolerances and superior barrel-to-frame fit. The top break mechanism, when properly maintained, created a remarkably rigid connection that enhanced shot placement significantly. Experienced shooters found they could consistently hit targets at ranges that challenged the capabilities of other revolvers, turning what might have been difficult shots into routine executions. Beyond mechanical advantages, the Model 3 attracted the most dangerous and innovative gunfighters of the era. Men who chose this revolver weren't content with traditional methods. They were tactical thinkers who understood that superior technology, properly employed, could overcome raw speed or natural talent. These weren't hot-headed young guns looking for reputation. They were calculating professionals who viewed gunfighting as a science to be mastered. Complex mechanisms demanded greater discipline from their users. The intricate top break mechanism required more maintenance than simpler designs and was more susceptible to fouling in dusty frontier conditions. This meant that Model 3 users had to be more disciplined about weapon care. But those who mastered these requirements found themselves armed with perhaps the most tactically advanced revolver of their era. Manufacturing costs made the Model 3 expensive compared to other options, which naturally limited its ownership to successful professionals, whether they were lawmen, hired guns, or outright killers. This economic barrier meant that anyone seen carrying a Model 3 was immediately recognized as someone who had both the means to afford premium weaponry and the skills to justify such an investment. Customization options were extensive, with many users opting for shorter barrels for faster draw times or longer barrels for enhanced accuracy. Some had custom grips fitted for improved handling, while others requested modified triggers for competitive advantages. These personalized weapons became highly recognizable, adding to their owners' reputations and psychological impact. Impressive as the Smith & Wesson Model 3 proved to be, it pales in comparison to the next weapon on our countdown. A revolver so feared that its very presence could end confrontations before they began, carried by men whose names are still whispered in reverent terror more than a century later. If these hidden stories of the frontier fascinate you as much as they do us, hit that like button. It lets us know you want more. And if you're new here, saddle up and subscribe for more deep dives into the Wild West's most legendary weapons. Number 5. The Colt, Single Action Army. They called it the Peacemaker, but peace was the last thing on anyone's mind when they heard that distinctive metallic click of the hammer being pulled back. The Colt Single Action Army had earned its reputation one body at a time, transforming the American frontier from a lawless wilderness into a graveyard of men who thought they were faster than death itself. This iron didn't just make legends, it buried them. Perfect marriage of reliability, power, and speed characterized this legendary revolver. Chambered primarily in .45 caliber, this weapon delivered devastating stopping power that could drop a man instantly with proper shot placement. The design philosophy emphasized elegant simplicity. Fewer moving parts meant fewer things that could go wrong in the dust, heat, and chaos of frontier life. When a man's survival depended on his iron functioning flawlessly, the Peacemaker rarely disappointed. Natural extension of the shooter's hand. That's how experienced gunfighters described the Single Action Army's handling characteristics. The grip angle and balance were so perfectly engineered that experienced gunfighters could draw and fire with fluid, almost supernatural speed. The weapon seemed to point instinctively where the shooter looked, eliminating the conscious aiming process that could mean the difference between life and death in a fast-draw situation. Beyond mechanical design, the Peacemaker attracted a specific type of gunfighter. This wasn't a weapon for casual gun owners or weekend warriors. The Single Action Army demanded skill, practice, and an intimate understanding of its characteristics. Men who mastered the Peacemaker became artists of violence, capable of placing shots with precision that bordered on the supernatural. Legendary gunfighters understood that the Peacemaker's single action mechanism, while requiring manual cocking for each shot, actually provided a tactical advantage in the right hands. The crisp, light trigger pull that resulted from proper cocking allowed for incredibly precise shot placement. Skilled operators could fire aimed shots faster than most men could even draw their weapons, turning confrontations into one-sided massacres. Customization possibilities were virtually limitless for the Peacemaker. Professional gunfighters often had their weapons modified by skilled craftsmen who understood the deadly serious nature of their client's work. Common modifications included shortened barrels for faster draws, custom grips for improved handling, and trigger jobs that reduced pull weight while maintaining reliability. Some had custom sights installed for enhanced accuracy, while others preferred the simplicity of the standard configuration. Legendary durability meant that properly maintained examples continued to function flawlessly after decades of hard use. This longevity allowed successful gunfighters to develop an almost mystical bond with their weapons, learning every nuance of their individual gun's behavior and exploiting these characteristics for maximum lethality. Single-action design did present limitations in rapid-fire situations. Skilled opponents who could force extended exchanges of gunfire sometimes gained advantages over Peacemaker users who hadn't mastered the weapon's manual cocking requirements. This limitation separated true masters from mere practitioners, as only the most skilled could maintain effective rates of fire under extreme pressure. Manufacturing quality during this period reached exceptional levels, with each revolver receiving careful attention to detail that ensured consistent performance. This reliability gave Peacemaker users confidence that their weapons would function when needed most, allowing them to focus entirely on tactics and marksmanship rather than worrying about mechanical failures. Legendary as the Peacemaker proved itself to be, we're about to encounter weapons that pushed the boundaries of lethality even further. Revolvers that gave their users such overwhelming advantages that facing them was often tantamount to suicide. Number 4. The Colt Model, 1877. Lightning, 6 shots in 3 seconds. That was the whispered legend surrounding men who carried the Colt Model 1877 Lightning. When this revolutionary double-action revolver appeared on the frontier, it didn't just change gunfighting, it transformed it into a brutal science where speed wasn't just an advantage. It was the difference between walking away and being carried carried out in a pine box. Revolutionary mechanism eliminated the fatal delay that plagued other weapons. This technological masterpiece introduced double-action firing to serious gunfighters, allowing operators to simply pull the trigger and fire without the manual cocking requirement that limited conventional revolvers. The gun automatically cocked and released the hammer in one smooth motion, compressing the deadly timeline of frontier confrontations. Devastating advantage became apparent in how the Lightning transformed gunfighting tactics. Traditional revolvers required distinct movements, draw, cock, aim, fire, that gave opponents opportunities to react or take cover. The Lightning reduced this to draw, aim, fire, with subsequent shots requiring only trigger pulls. In the hands of a skilled shooter, this weapon could empty its cylinder in the time it took opponents to fire 2 or 3 aimed shots. Professional killers who adopted the Lightning discovered that its rapid-fire capability created overwhelming psychological pressure on their opponents. Men accustomed to the measured pace of single-action gunfights found themselves facing a withering storm of bullets that shattered their composure and tactical thinking. Many confrontations ended with opponents surrendering after witnessing just a demonstration of the Lightning's rapid-fire potential. Surprising accuracy during rapid fire distinguished the Lightning from inferior double-action attempts. Thanks to its smooth trigger pull and excellent balance, skilled users could place multiple shots in tight groups faster than opponents could adjust their aim for follow-up shots. Unlike some double-action revolvers that suffered from heavy, jerky trigger pulls, the Lightning's mechanism was refined enough to allow precise shooting even during rapid-fire sequences. Sophisticated complexity demanded greater discipline from its users. The multiple internal parts required for double-action operation were more susceptible to fouling and wear than simpler single-action designs. This meant that Lightning users had to be meticulous about weapon care, but those who mastered these requirements found themselves armed with perhaps the most tactically advanced revolver of their era. Extensive customization options allowed professional users to enhance their specific tactical needs. Some chose shorter barrels for concealment and faster draw times, while others preferred longer barrels for enhanced accuracy and muzzle velocity. Custom grips, modified triggers, and enhanced sights were common modifications that transformed already deadly weapons into personalized instruments of precision lethality. Exceptional manufacturing quality reflected Colt's craftsmen taking particular pride in the complex mechanism that made double-action firing possible. Each revolver was hand-fitted and tested to ensure smooth, reliable operation under the demanding conditions of frontier use. This attention to detail meant that Lightning users could depend on their weapons functioning flawlessly when their lives depended on rapid, accurate fire. Different training requirements separated Lightning masters from ordinary shooters. Users had to develop muscle memory for the longer, heavier trigger pull while maintaining accuracy standards. Those who mastered these skills found they possessed a significant tactical advantage over opponents still limited by single-action firing rates. Advanced as the Lightning proved itself to be, we're approaching weapons that transcended mere technological innovation to become instruments of almost supernatural lethality. Revolvers that turned their users into living legends of the deadliest kind. Number 3. The Colt Model, 1873. Peacemaker Buntline Special. 12 inches of steel death stretched out like the finger of the Grim Reaper himself. That's how men described their first sight of the Colt Model. 1873 Peacemaker Buntline Special. While ordinary gunfighters squabbled over who could draw fastest, the professionals who carried this extended barrel monster had already redefined the rules of survival. They didn't need to be fast when they could kill you from distances where your bullets couldn't even reach them. Ultimate evolution of the Peacemaker concept transformed an already deadly close-range weapon into a devastating long-range killer. That extended barrel wasn't just for show. It provided significant increases in muzzle velocity and accuracy that allowed skilled shooters to engage targets at rifle-like distances while maintaining the portability and quick handling characteristics of a handgun. Fundamental rule changes in gunfighting came with the Buntline Special's arrival. Traditional Traditional revolver battles took place at close range, where both parties faced roughly equal chances of survival based on speed and accuracy. The Buntline Special allowed its users to engage opponents from distances where return fire was virtually impossible with standard weapons. This tactical advantage transformed gunfights from duels of equals into one-sided executions. Professional assassins and lawmen who carried the Buntline Special discovered that its psychological impact was almost as devastating as its ballistic performance. The sight of that distinctive long barrel sent a clear message. They were facing someone who could kill them from distances they couldn't even accurately return fire. Many potential confrontations ended with opponents seeking cover or surrender, rather than facing certain death at impossible ranges. Legendary accuracy defined the weapon's reputation, with skilled users consistently hitting man-sized targets at distances exceeding 100 yards. This precision wasn't accidental. The extended barrel provided a longer sight radius that made precise aiming significantly easier, while the increased muzzle velocity reduced bullet drop and wind drift that plagued shorter-barreled weapons. In the hands of a competent marksman, the Buntline Special was capable of surgical shot placement that could disable or kill with ruthless efficiency. Extended barrel dimensions created tactical trade-offs that limited the weapon to specific types of users. The Buntline Special was slower to draw than standard revolvers and more difficult to maneuver in confined spaces. This meant it wasn't ideal for traditional fast-draw situations, but rather excelled in scenarios where the user could position themselves strategically and engage targets at their preferred range. Tactical thinking became essential for successful Buntline Special users. These weren't hot-headed young guns looking for face-to-face duels. They were calculating professionals who treated gunfighting as a science and used superior range and accuracy to stack the odds overwhelmingly in their favor. They understood how to exploit the weapon's capabilities while minimizing its limitations. Customization focused on enhancing the already impressive accuracy capabilities. Many users had custom sights installed that improved precision even further, while others opted for modified triggers that provided lighter, more consistent pulls for enhanced shot placement. Some had custom grips fitted that improved handling of the longer, heavier weapon during extended shooting sessions. Manufacturing precision matched Colt's reputation for excellence, with each weapon receiving careful attention to barrel accuracy and overall fit and finish. The extended barrel required additional manufacturing precision to maintain accuracy, and Colt's craftsmen rose to the challenge with weapons that consistently delivered exceptional performance. Fearsome as the Buntline Special proved itself to be, we're about to encounter weapons that pushed lethality into realms that bordered on the supernatural. Revolvers that didn't just kill, but obliterated their targets with such devastating power that witnesses never forgot the carnage they witnessed. Can you believe the truth behind this so-called legend? We'd love to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts and questions in the comments, and who knows, we might feature your take in the next video. And don't forget, subscribe and ride with our growing posse of Wild West enthusiasts. Number 2, the Lamat Revolver. Imagine facing down an opponent who wasn't just carrying a gun. He was wielding a one-man artillery unit disguised as a revolver. The Lamat Revolver shattered every rule of frontier combat by combining 9 shots of precision death with a shotgun blast that could clear an entire room of enemies in one thunderous roar. This wasn't just innovation, this was devastation given mechanical form, carried by men who understood that overwhelming firepower could end fights before they truly began. Revolutionary design combined the best aspects of 2 deadly weapon types into a single compact package. The main cylinder held 9 .42 caliber rounds, arranged around a central 20-gauge shotgun barrel, giving its user unprecedented firepower options. With a simple flick of a lever on the hammer, the shooter could switch between revolver mode for precision work and shotgun mode for close-range devastation that could stop multiple attackers simultaneously. Tactical flexibility provided to the most dangerous men of the frontier made the Lamat truly deadly. Professional killers who carried this weapon could adapt to any situation. Precision shots for long-range work rapid revolver fire for standard gunfights, and shotgun blasts for close-quarters mayhem that could clear entire rooms of enemies. This versatility made Lamat users unpredictable and incredibly dangerous opponents who couldn't be countered with conventional tactics. Precision capabilities of the Lamat's revolver function were exceptional, with the long barrel providing excellent accuracy for targeted shots. Skilled users could engage single threats with surgical precision, then immediately switch to area effect mode if additional opponents appeared. This capability made ambushing Lamat users extremely dangerous, as they possessed overwhelming firepower advantages regardless of how many attackers they faced. Weapon complexity and weight were significant disadvantages that limited effectiveness to truly skilled operators. The Lamat was substantially heavier than conventional revolvers and required more complex maintenance procedures to keep both firing systems functioning reliably. This meant that only the most dedicated and professional users could fully exploit the weapon's capabilities while avoiding its potential pitfalls. Manufacturing quality of Lamat revolvers was exceptional, with each weapon requiring skilled craftsmen to create the complex dual firing system that made the design possible. The precision required to manufacture a reliable switching mechanism between revolver and shotgun modes was remarkable for the era, making each Lamat a masterpiece of 19th century engineering. Customization options were limited by the complex design, but some users had custom grips fitted to better handle the weapon's substantial weight and unique balance characteristics. Others had the shotgun barrel modified for different spread patterns or enhanced stopping power, creating personalized weapons that maximized their tactical advantages. Successful Lamat users were tactical innovators who understood how to exploit the weapon's unique capabilities while compensating for its limitations. These weren't traditional gunfighters relying on speed and accuracy. They were combat revolutionaries who had fundamentally redefined what was possible in armed confrontations. Professional assassins and elite lawmen who carried Lamats often developed specialized techniques for rapid mode switching that allowed them to engage multiple target types in sequence without pause, creating a fluid, devastating style of combat that was virtually unstoppable. Revolutionary as the Lamat proved itself to be, there remains one weapon that surpassed even its deadly innovations. A revolver so feared that its very existence changed the nature of violence itself in the American West. Number 1. The Colt model, 1877 Thunderer. In the annals of frontier violence, no weapon inspired more fear, commanded more respect, or claimed more lives than the Colt model 1877 Thunderer. This double-action masterpiece didn't just end gunfights. It ended entire criminal careers with a speed and brutality that defied human comprehension. When the dust settled and the smoke cleared, the men still standing were invariably those who had trusted their lives to the supernatural lethality of the Thunderer. Devastating stopping power, combined with lightning-fast firing capability, made the Thunderer the absolute pinnacle of revolver technology. Chambered in .41 caliber, this weapon delivered bone-shattering impact that could drop a man instantly with center mass hits, while maintaining the rapid-fire capability that allowed skilled operators to engage multiple targets with supernatural speed. The double-action mechanism meant that every trigger pull delivered death without the delay of manual cocking that plagued lesser weapons. Mechanical superiority attracted and created the most dangerous men the West had ever seen. This wasn't a weapon for casual gun owners or weekend warriors. The Thunderer demanded absolute mastery and rewarded that dedication by transforming competent shooters into instruments of unstoppable lethality. Men who carried Thunderers weren't just gunfighters. They were artists of violence who had transcended ordinary human limitations. Professional killers who mastered the Thunderer discovered that its rapid-fire capability allowed them to maintain continuous pressure on opponents that shattered tactical thinking and reduced experienced gunfighters to panic-stricken amateurs. The weapon could empty its cylinder with such speed and accuracy that return fire became virtually impossible, turning gunfights into one-sided massacres that left witnesses questioning what they had actually seen. Supernatural accuracy during rapid fire was perhaps the Thunderer's most terrifying characteristic. Thanks to its perfectly balanced design and smooth double-action trigger mechanism. Unlike other rapid-fire weapons that sacrificed precision for speed, the Thunderer maintained devastating accuracy even during full-speed cylinder dumps. Skilled users could place multiple shots in tight groups faster than opponents could even acquire targets, creating kill patterns that defied belief. Sophisticated mechanism required absolute dedication to maintenance and training. The complex internal parts demanded meticulous care and expert knowledge to maintain peak performance. This barrier to entry meant that only the most professional and dedicated users could fully exploit the Thunderer's capabilities, naturally selecting for the deadliest and most competent operators. Manufacturing quality represented the absolute pinnacle of Colt's craftsmanship during their golden era. Each weapon was hand-fitted and tested to ensure flawless operation under the extreme conditions of frontier use. This attention to detail created weapons that functioned with mechanical perfection, allowing their users to focus entirely on tactics and target engagement, rather than worrying about reliability. Extensive customization options allowed master gunfighters to have their weapons modified by legendary gunsmiths who understood the deadly serious nature of their clients' work. Custom triggers, enhanced sights, modified grips, and personalized balance adjustments transformed already deadly weapons into extensions of their owner's will to survive and dominate. Human lethality, amplified to levels that seemed to violate natural law, was the Thunderer's most feared aspect. In the hands of true masters, this weapon became something approaching a supernatural force that could end any confrontation with overwhelming, decisive violence. Stories of Thunderer effectiveness became legends that outlived their users, creating a mythology around the weapon that enhanced its psychological impact for generations. The mere sight of a Thunderer in experienced hands was often enough to end conflicts before they began, as smart opponents recognized they were facing something beyond their ability to counter. Thanks for riding with us through the deadliest iron of the Wild West. If you enjoyed this journey, give it a thumbs up and share it with a fellow history buff who loves frontier legends. And remember, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because the next showdown is one you won't want to miss.